Iceland, a land so remote, so raw, so violently beautiful, it feels like it doesn't belong to this world. But what if I told you, Iceland isn't standing still? What if I told you, Iceland is moving? Not metaphorically, not emotionally, but geologically, physically, literally. Right now, this very moment, Iceland is splitting apart. Every single year, this island expands by approximately 2 centimeters, as if being slowly pulled at both ends by invisible hands. Why? Because Iceland lies on top of a sleeping giant, a crack in the earth, a deep, ancient scar known as the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. And here's the twist: this crack is alive. It grows, it breathes, it reshapes the earth itself. Beneath your feet in Iceland, the very bones of our planet are shifting. The North American tectonic plate and the Eurasian tectonic plate are engaged in a slow-motion tug-of-war, drifting apart millimeter by millimeter, year after year. And Iceland? Iceland sits right on the fault line. So, what happens when you live on top of a rift that keeps opening? The ground beneath your home moves. The valleys expand, the mountains quake, the volcanoes awaken. Because this isn't just about movement. It's about creation and destruction. Most of us live our lives thinking the ground beneath us is solid, stable, permanent. But not in Iceland. Here, the earth constantly reminds people of one hard truth: nothing stays still forever. In Ingvellir National Park, the separation is visible to the naked eye. You can literally walk in the space between 2 continents. The cracks, the ridges, the deep, jagged chasms, they're not accidents. They're signs. They're messages from the earth. I am not finished. Now, I want you to stop and think for a second. If you could feel the earth stretching beneath your feet, would you feel safe? Would you sleep soundly at night? Would you stay? Let us know in the comments. Yes or no. Would you live on top of a moving continent? But wait, it gets deeper. Every time the plates shift, pressure builds. And that pressure has to go somewhere. That's why Iceland is home to over 130 volcanoes, many of them still active. It's not just coincidence, it's cause and effect. Do you remember Eyjafjallajökull? The eruption in 2010 that grounded planes across Europe, disrupted millions of lives, and covered the skies in ash? That wasn't a freak event. That was a whisper from the Earth's core. A warning, and it won't be the last. But here's where it gets truly wild. Because as dangerous as this may seem, it's also part of a greater, deeper story. This is how New Earth is born. As the plates drift apart, molten rock rises from the mantle. It cools, it hardens, it becomes land. That's right, Iceland is literally creating new land, every single day. This island is one of the few places on Earth where you can watch geology happen in real time. Where you can stand on soil that didn't exist a few decades ago. In other words, Iceland isn't just expanding. It's evolving, it's reshaping the face of our planet, silently, constantly. But how long can it go on? How long before another eruption? Another shift? Another reminder that this island isn't anchored, it's adrift? And now, let me ask you again. If you could visit a place where the earth is being torn apart, would you go? Leave your answer in the comments. Would you stand between the plates? Would you walk the fault line? Would you dare to feel the pulse of the planet beneath your feet? Say, yes, I'd walk the rift, or, no, it's too risky. Your voice matters, and we read every comment. And remember this, the next time you hear the earth is still, think of Iceland, because it never rests, it never stops growing, and deep beneath the snow and ice, something ancient is stirring. But what lies beneath that expanding crack? What forces are building below the surface, waiting for release? In the next part, we go deeper, into the magma chambers, the volcanic veins, the hidden rivers of fire, and the terrifying question, could Iceland someday explode with the force of a supervolcano? You won't believe what scientists have discovered. They say if you stay in Iceland long enough, the sky will eventually speak to you. Not with thunder, not with lightning, but with light, living light, because once the night comes and the winds fall silent, a miracle begins to unfold. A surreal dance across the heavens, a whisper from the solar wind, a cosmic symphony written in green, violet, and blue. We call it the Aurora Borealis. But in Iceland, it's something more. It's a sacred performance, a celestial ritual, and if you're lucky enough, it might just change the way you see the universe. Imagine standing alone in the vast Icelandic countryside. No cars, no city lights, just you and the stars. Suddenly, a green glow appears on the horizon. Faint at first, then brighter, and brighter, until it stretches across the entire sky. It moves, it breathes, it pulses, like it's alive. You can't look away. You won't blink. And for a brief moment, nothing else in the world matters. Have you ever seen the northern lights with your own eyes? Tell us in the comments. Yes or no, and if not, would you want to? Because this isn't just a light show. It's science, it's history, it's mystery, and no one fully understands it. But what exactly are the northern lights? They begin 150 million kilometers away, on the surface of the sun. Violent solar storms launch particles into space at unimaginable speeds. These particles, charged, chaotic, unstoppable, race toward Earth. But our planet is not defenseless. It has a shield, a magnetic force field known as the magnetosphere. When those solar particles crash into it, they're redirected toward the poles, north and south. And that's when the real magic begins. As the particles enter the upper atmosphere, they collide with atoms of oxygen and nitrogen. The result? Energy, light, color. The glowing green curtains you see are actually oxygen atoms excited at 100 kilometers altitude. The rare purples and blues? That's nitrogen. All of it, a stunning side effect of our planet's invisible protection. And Iceland, perfectly positioned near the Arctic Circle, becomes the ultimate theater for this ancient performance. But why does it feel so spiritual? Because when you're there, watching the sky ripple like waves in an invisible ocean, you feel small, you feel ancient, you feel like the earth is talking back. Some Icelanders believe the lights are the souls of the dead. Others say they are gods dancing in the sky. There are even stories of the lights guiding lost travelers home. Old legends warned pregnant women not to look at the aurora, or their babies would be born cross-eyed. And some say, if you whistle at the lights, they'll come closer. Have you heard other myths about the northern lights? Share them in the comments. We're collecting the strangest ones. Because in Iceland, science and legend live side by side. But there's one question we all want to ask. What does it feel like to stand under the aurora borealis? The answer is hard to describe. Some people cry, others go silent, some feel as if time has stopped. Because you realize, you are watching the Earth protect itself in real time. The auroras are visual proof that our planet is alive and fighting. They are the shield made visible. And while we're down here worrying about daily life, above us, a cosmic battle unfolds every night. If you've ever felt like you're part of something bigger, the lights confirm it. But wait, the northern lights are changing. Solar activity is increasing. Experts say the sun is approaching a new solar maximum, and the auroras may become more intense, more frequent, and possibly more dangerous, because with greater solar storms comes more radiation, more interference with satellites, and, in rare cases, blackouts, airline disruptions, even power grid failures. Could this beautiful display one day become a global threat? Some scientists are warning us to prepare. Others say we should simply enjoy the lights, while we still can. What do you think? Is the aurora a warning? Or a gift? Comment below. The sky protects us, or the sky is warning us. Your perspective might change someone's mind. A final thought. In Iceland, the northern lights are more than a spectacle. They are a bridge between science and myth, between what we understand and what we still don't. They remind us that, even in the darkest nights, the sky can still light up in ways we never imagined. So if you ever find yourself in the middle of nowhere, under a sky that suddenly bursts into green fire, don't be afraid, don't look away, just stand still, and feel the universe breathing with you. In part 3, we go back below the surface. Because while the sky above Iceland is alive with light, beneath the ground, something else is moving, rising, boiling. We'll explore Iceland's underground magma chambers, how they create new land, and the terrifying possibility of a chain reaction eruption that could darken the skies for months. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. Let us know in the comments. Have you ever dreamed of seeing the northern lights? Would you risk freezing nights and long waits for a few seconds of pure magic? Ice together. One destroys, the other preserves. But Iceland is not most places. Here, fire and ice share the same bed. They live side by side. They fight, and they dance. Because under Iceland's majestic white glaciers lies a seething inferno, a network of volcanic veins, magma chambers, and geothermal power, just waiting to rise. Let that sink in. Imagine standing on top of a glacier, a towering slab of ancient ice, hundreds of meters thick, and knowing that directly beneath your boots, lava is moving. Yes, that's real. That's Iceland. How is this even possible? Because Iceland is built on a paradox. It is both a land of extremes and a land of balance. A place where two opposites exist not in conflict, but in tension. The country is home to over 300 glaciers, including some of the largest in Europe. And beneath many of them lie active volcanoes. Not extinct, not dormant, active. One of the most famous examples? Grímsvötn. It lies beneath Vatnajökull, Iceland's largest glacier. A sleeping beast under 1,000 meters of solid ice. When it erupts, and it doesn't just send lava into the air. It melts the glacier from below. This creates something terrifying. Jökullhlaup. A word so uniquely Icelandic, it barely exists elsewhere. It means a sudden, violent glacial flood caused by a subglacial volcanic eruption. Picture it. An eruption melts thousands of tons of ice. Pressure builds under the glacier. Water pools. And then, boom, an unstoppable wall of water, ice, and ash rushes downstream, destroying everything in its path. No warning, no mercy. This has happened again and again in Iceland's history. And it will happen again. Have you ever heard of a volcano melting a glacier from below? Leave a comment. Yes, Earth is wild, or no, that's terrifying. We want to know how many of you have heard this before. But there's beauty too. These violent interactions shape Iceland in ways that no other country experiences. They create volcanic ice caves, geothermal rivers, hot springs surrounded by snow. They paint the land in black, white, and red. Imagine stepping into a crystal ice cave. The walls glowing blue, steam rising through cracks in the floor. And somewhere deep below, the earth rumbling. It feels like stepping into another planet. Would you enter an ice cave sitting on top of a volcano? Yes or no? Comment below. Would you risk it for the view? Let's talk about one of the most dangerous volcanoes in Iceland, Katla. It's massive, it's unpredictable, and it sleeps beneath the Mýrdalsjökull glacier. Scientists say when Katla erupts again, and it will, the results could dwarf what Eyjafjallajökull did in 2010. We're talking global flight cancellations, massive ash clouds, and potentially glacial floods strong enough to wash away entire towns. But that's not even the scariest part. The scariest part is, we might not even see it coming. Because it's buried under ice. That means early warning systems are less reliable. Pressure builds in silence. And then, catastrophe. So why do people stay? Why do Icelanders live on top of this ticking clock? Because they've learned to live with fire. To respect it, not fear it. And in doing so, they've created one of the most advanced volcano monitoring systems in the world. They watch the Earth's temperature, listen to its seismic whispers, and prepare for what might come next. But deep down, they know the truth. Nature can't be controlled. Only witnessed, only endured, and perhaps, only understood in hindsight. And here's the paradox. While these volcanic glacial interactions are deadly, they also give Iceland life. The melting water fuels hydroelectric power. The heat from below powers greenhouses, spas, and entire towns. And the beauty of this fire and ice balance? It attracts millions of visitors a year. People come not despite the danger, but because of it. There's something magnetic about a place that's constantly on the edge. It reminds us of what the Earth is capable of what we take for granted, of how fragile and powerful life really is. Final thought, the next time you look at a glacier, ask yourself, what's underneath? Because in Iceland, that answer could be fire. And the next time you hear about a volcano, remember, it might be buried beneath 1,000 years of ice, waiting for the perfect moment to rise. In part 4, we'll go even deeper. We'll explore the human stories, the villages that vanished in lava, the people who live with constant tremors, and the Icelanders who say they can feel when something is coming. Are these people more connected to the Earth, or just more used to danger? In a world that moves fast, in a land where fire meets ice, there lives a creature that has remained unchanged for over 1,000 years. Small in size, but mighty in soul, a guardian of Iceland's secrets, the Icelandic horse. They are not like other horses. They do not look the same. They do not move the same. And most importantly, they do not belong anywhere else. Because this is not just a breed, it's a legacy. Let's go back, 874 AD. Viking settlers arrive in Iceland, bringing with them only what they can carry. Weapons, tools, beliefs, and horses. These were not just beasts of burden. They were companions, protectors, symbols of power. Over the centuries, while horses on mainland Europe evolved, interbred, changed, the horses in Iceland remained untouched, unchanged, isolated. For over 1,100 years, no foreign horse has been allowed into Iceland. Not one. And if an Icelandic horse leaves the country, it can never return. Why? Because Iceland protects its horses like it protects its traditions. Fiercely. Comment below. Have you ever heard of a country that bans the return of its own animals? Yes or no? This might be the only one. But why are these horses so special? Because they possess something no other horse on earth has: 5 gaits. Most horses have 3: walk, trot, gallop. A few have 4, but the Icelandic horse? It has 5, and one of them is like nothing you've ever seen. It's called the tolt. What is the tolt? It's smooth, it's fast, it feels like floating. Writers say when a horse tolt, your coffee doesn't spill. Not a drop. That's how smooth the movement is. The horse glides forward with one foot always on the ground. There's no bounce, no jolt, just speed and grace. The tolt is so unique, so iconic, it's considered a national treasure. There are competitions where riders balance a full glass of beer while tolting. And not a single drop moves. Have you ever seen a tolt in real life? Search for it after this video. Then come back and tell us in the comments. Tolt equals magic, if it blew your mind. And then there's the flying pace. Not all Icelandic horses can do it. It's rare, explosive, and almost alien. It's a 2-beat lateral gait at high speed, so fast that it looks like the horse is sprinting on air. This is not just talent. It's blood, it's ancient memory. Because remember, these horses have been pure for a millennium. They've never mixed with outsiders. And Iceland intends to keep it that way. But why all the rules? Because crossbreeding brings risk, not just disease, but the loss of what makes them Icelandic. If even a single foreign horse entered Iceland and carried an unknown virus or parasite, it could wipe out the entire population. So the rule is simple: no horse may enter. Once a horse leaves, it cannot come back. Even the equipment, saddles, boots, brushes, must be sterilized or brand new. It's not paranoia, it's protection. It's like Iceland is guarding a secret species, a living relic of Viking history. And here's the most surprising part: they're small. Most people think they're ponies, but call them that in Iceland, and you might start a fight. Because they are not ponies. They are horses, genetically, emotionally, spiritually. And once you see them tolting across a lava field, mane flying, hooves barely touching the ground, you'll understand, they don't need size to dominate. They have something else: character. The bond between Icelanders and their horses is ancient. In Old Norse mythology, gods rode across the skies on magical horses. In the Icelandic sagas, horses were heroes, sacrifices, symbols of fate, and even today, children grow up riding. Entire families gather for horse roundups. The horse is not just a pet, it's part of the national identity. In a world that moves fast, in a land where fire meets ice, there lives a creature that has remained unchanged for over 1,000 years. Small in size, but mighty in soul, a guardian of Iceland's secrets. The Icelandic horse. They are not like other horses. They do not look the same. They do not move the same. And most importantly, they do not belong anywhere else. Because this is not just a breed, it's a legacy. Let's go back, 874 AD. Viking settlers arrive in Iceland, bringing with them only what they can carry: weapons, tools, beliefs, and horses. These were not just beasts of burden. They were companions, protectors, symbols of power. Over the centuries, while horses on mainland Europe evolved, interbred, changed, the horses in Iceland remained untouched, unchanged, isolated. For over 1,100 years, no foreign horse has been allowed into Iceland. Not one. And if an Icelandic horse leaves the country, it can never return. Why? Because Iceland protects its horses like it protects its traditions. Fiercely. Comment below. Have you ever heard of a country that bans the return of its own animals? Yes or no? This might be the only one. But why are these horses so special? Because they possess something no other horse on earth has: 5 gaits. Most horses have 3: walk, trot, gallop. A few have 4, but the Icelandic horse? It has 5, and one of them is like nothing you've ever seen. It's called the tolt. What is the tolt? It's smooth, it's fast, it feels like floating. Writers say when a horse tolt, your coffee doesn't spill. Not a drop. That's how smooth the movement is. The horse glides forward with one foot always on the ground. There's no bounce, no jolt, just speed and grace. The tolt is so unique, so iconic, it's considered a national treasure. There are competitions where riders balance a full glass of beer while tolting. And not a single drop moves. Have you ever seen a tolt in real life? Search for it after this video. Then come back and tell us in the comments. Tolt equals magic, if it blew your mind. And then there's the flying pace. Not all Icelandic horses can do it. It's rare, explosive, and almost alien. It's a 2-beat lateral gait at high speed, so fast that it looks like the horse is sprinting on air. This is not just talent. It's blood, it's ancient memory. Because remember, these horses have been pure for a millennium. They've never mixed with outsiders. And Iceland intends to keep it that way. But why all the rules? Because crossbreeding brings risk, not just disease, but the loss of what makes them Icelandic. If even a single foreign horse entered Iceland and carried an unknown virus or parasite, it could wipe out the entire population. So the rule is simple: no horse may enter. Once a horse leaves, it cannot come back. Even the equipment, saddles, boots, brushes, must be sterilized or brand new. It's not paranoia, it's protection. It's like Iceland is guarding a secret species, a living relic of Viking history. And here's the most surprising part: they're small. Most people think they're ponies, but call them that in Iceland, and you might start a fight. Because they are not ponies. They are horses, genetically, emotionally, spiritually. And once you see them tolting across a lava field, mane flying, hooves barely touching the ground, you'll understand, they don't need size to dominate. They have something else: character. The bond between Icelanders and their horses is ancient. In Old Norse mythology, gods rode across the skies on magical horses. In the Icelandic sagas, horses were heroes, sacrifices, symbols of fate, and even today, children grow up riding. Entire families gather for horse roundups. The horse is not just a pet, it's part of the national identity. In the modern world, ancient civilizations often fade into ruins. Their stories buried, their names forgotten, their gods abandoned. But not in Iceland. Because here, the Vikings never left. They're in the names, in the language, in the blood, and, most powerfully, in the stories still told by firelight. You don't have to search hard to find the past here. In Iceland, you live in it. Let's begin with something simple: your name. In most countries, your last name connects you to a family line: Johnson, Smith, Anderson. But in Iceland, your last name connects you directly to your parent, not your family name. If your father is named Eric, you are Eriksson, if you are male, or Eriksdottir, if you are female. No family name, no surname legacy, just lineage, Viking style. This system, called patronymic naming, dates back to the sagas. And it's still used today. No exceptions, no modern twist. Even Icelandic passports reflect this tradition. Imagine a world where your name changes with each generation, where no one shares a last name unless they share a parent. What do you think? Is that beautiful, or confusing? Drop your comment. Names should evolve, or keep the family name. And then there's the language. Icelandic is not just a language, it's a time capsule. Modern Icelanders can still read the original Viking sagas, written in the 13th century, with almost no translation. Let that sink in. Their language has changed so little, they can speak with their ancestors, through writing. How many languages can say that? English has evolved, French has evolved, even Norse, in its Danish and Norwegian forms, has shifted. But Icelandic? It held the line. Comment if you think this matters. Language is identity. Because in Iceland, that's exactly what it is. Let's talk about stories. Because while other nations write history in textbooks, Iceland carved it into epic poems. The Islandingasögur, or sagas of Icelanders, are dramatic, brutal, poetic accounts of real families, their feuds, loves, losses, and betrayals. They speak of heroes and murderers, of blood oaths and volcanic ash, of warriors and witches. These are not fairy tales. They are memories, passed down through generations, told beside lava-heated hearths, in the long dark of Arctic winters. And here's the amazing part: Icelandic children still study the sagas in school. Not as mythology, as family history. The Viking code still lives here. Honor, courage, isolation, survival. You see it in Iceland's rugged independence. A country that rejected monarchs, built geothermal cities in freezing wastelands, and created one of the world's most literate societies. You feel it in the people. Quiet, tough, resilient, not afraid of darkness, not afraid of fire, just like their ancestors. Have you ever felt drawn to the Viking spirit? Comment. Viking blood never dies. Let us know who still carries that fire. Let's go deeper. There's a belief here, not just in history, but in fate. In the sagas, Every hero had a destiny, and resisting it only made it worse. This belief still echoes in Icelandic culture. That life is written, that the earth will do what it must, that humans are not in control, they are part of something older. It's why Icelanders don't just study nature. They listen to it, to the volcanoes, the glaciers, the northern lights, and sometimes, to the things we can't see. But that's for the next episode. A final thought. In Iceland, the Viking legacy isn't just history. It's everyday life. It's in the names, the language, the stories, the worldview. It's in the silence of the mountains, the roar of the ocean, and the fire beneath your feet. Here, the past is never past. It breathes with you, it rides with you, it watches the skies with you. The Vikings may be gone, but Iceland never let them go. In part 6, we finally step into the unseen. The legends of elves, hidden people, and mysterious creatures that even the most skeptical Icelanders refuse to fully deny. Why do over 50% of Icelanders still believe in Huldufolk, the hidden people? Are these just stories, or something much deeper? You might not believe in them, but after hearing what we've uncovered, you might start to wonder. Comment prompt. Would you rather live in a world that believes in magic, or by gender, by class, by politics? I choose magic, or remote. I choose reason. Often forgotten, but quietly, it leads the world. While other nations debate equality, Iceland lives it. And the most incredible part? They didn't do it with noise, or violence, or endless speeches. They did it with something far more powerful. Action. Let's start with a number. Number 1. That's Iceland's rank on the Global Gender Gap Index. 14 years in a row. Not Sweden, not Norway, not even Finland. Iceland, a small island in the North Atlantic, with a population smaller than many cities, leads the entire planet in gender equality. And it didn't happen by accident. Would you believe a country where women outnumber men in parliament? Where same-sex couples can marry and adopt freely? Where paternity leave isn't a gift, it's a right? Now ask yourself, why haven't more countries followed? Leave a comment. Iceland got it right. If you believe the world should learn from them. But how did it all begin? With one of the most powerful moments in feminist history. A day known simply as the Women's Day Off. On October 24, 1975, 90% of Icelandic women walked off the job. Teachers, nurses, secretaries, and yes, even stay-at-home mothers. They refused to work, refused to cook, refused to clean, refused to raise the children alone. For one day, the country stopped, banks closed, flights were cancelled, schools shut down. The men were left to handle everything. And they realized just how much they depended on women. That single day changed the course of Iceland's history. Just 5 years later, in 1980, Iceland elected the first female president in the world, Vigdís Finnbogadóttir. Not just in Iceland, not just in Europe, in the world. She served for 16 years, longer than any Icelandic president. Respected, beloved, and most importantly, normal. She wasn't treated like a symbol. She was treated like a leader. And that set the tone for generations to come. Can you imagine your country electing its first female head of state? 45 years ago? Comment. Yes, the future is female. Or, still waiting for that day. Let's see where the world stands. But gender equality here isn't just political. It's personal, it's cultural, it's structural. In Iceland, both parents get paid leave when a child is born. And here's the key. If the father doesn't use his time, it disappears. This forces a choice, a shared responsibility. So now, in Iceland, it's normal to see fathers pushing strollers, attending parent meetings, caring for newborns alone, not as heroes. Just as, parents, equality doesn't begin in laws. It begins in expectations, and in Iceland, they expect men to show up. Now let's talk pay. In 2018, Iceland passed a law no other country had dared to try. It made it illegal to pay women less than men. For the same work, not just morally wrong, legally punishable. Companies must prove they're paying fairly, or they face fines. Imagine that in your country. Would it be welcomed, or resisted? Drop a comment. Pay should be equal, no excuses. Because in Iceland, they've stopped asking. They've started enforcing. And here's the twist. This progress hasn't made Iceland soft. It's made it stronger. Iceland consistently ranks among the top for education, life satisfaction, safety, innovation. They've shown the world, equality doesn't weaken society. It fortifies it, because when everyone has a seat at the table, you build stronger bridges, better ideas, deeper trust. Would you want to raise children in a society like that? Comment. Yes. Build the future in Iceland. But even paradise has work to do. Iceland still battles gender stereotypes in media, still faces domestic violence, still sees fewer women in tech and finance. And Icelandic women? They're still protesting, still marching, still demanding more, because equality isn't a trophy. It's a process. And Iceland, unlike many others, isn't pretending the work is done. They keep showing up, together. A final thought: Iceland proves something powerful, that a small nation can lead in big ways. That culture can evolve, with courage. That equality isn't a dream, it's a decision. While others argue, Iceland acts. While others promise, Iceland delivers. Not because they're perfect, but because they're honest, and brave enough to change.